defending the goal to the right in the first half. Here's Riccardo Ferri, who, along with Brehme, has been dropped by the Italian squad. Handball by Andy Brehme.
Well, it'll be interesting this afternoon to see what tactics Inter Milan adopt, because the last time we saw them play, they were very, very negative when they played against Roma. Deserved really to get nothing from that game, or perhaps at least a draw. But they won it, of course, with that controversial penalty, which Matthaus converted in good style.
I had the opportunity to talk to Lothar Matthaus when he was in England, and he said that he certainly appreciates the way Aurico is running the team. He prefers his tactics to those of Trapattoni's, which was not too much of a surprise. He had been critical of Trapattoni. The volleyed cross from Mancini. It's going to be an interesting comparison between the two goalkeepers here. Italy's 1 and 2, Zenga and Pagliuca, who gave that quite unbelievable performance when the two teams met in the San Siro last May, in the match which really did ensure that Sampdoria, not Inter, would win the championship. Matthaus said about Pagliuca that day, he was a goalkeeper with 10 hands rather than 10 fingers. Here's Vialli. Bianchi trying to slide it through for Berti, broken up by Vierkabod. It's sure to be fierce and frantic in the opening exchanges here. The one thing Inter might worry about is if they get awarded a penalty, having had 4 in the last game and only scoring 1 of them at home to Verona. It was the 4th of the 4 that Desideri put in just off the inside of the post. Matthaus and Brehme had shots saved from the spot. Ciocci, a substitute today, blazed his horribly wide. But there is a comparison, as Klinsmann is down at the moment, because Vialli had a penalty saved by the same goalkeeper from Verona, Gregori, the week before.
Well, that's a typical Vierkabod tackle there, one that we've come to expect. I think Klinsmann was looking for the tackle, but certainly a very, very untidy challenge from Vierkabod. A little surprised he's got away without a booking. Certainly no intent to play the ball.
Well, he's a mean customer. He's been around a long time. He's 32 now, and Klinsmann, I don't think, would have been looking forward too much to the confrontation. It's challenging, of course, for the attacker, but it can be painful as well. It is a free kick, which Brehme will take. But it flicked off Lombardo, who got a couple of goals in that 5-0 win over the Norwegians here on Wednesday. 2 also for Dossena, who hasn't featured in the starting lineup for Sampdoria this season. He had an operation during the summer, but you might remember his only league goal last season was the crucial first goal past Walter Zenga in the San Siro in May. It was an astonishing match, one of the most dramatic that I've ever seen. And Sampdoria survived it and went on to take the championship for the first time. Matthaus trying to set the mood here for Inter. Brehme. He seems to have been around forever, but he's still only 27. Considerably younger than Matthaus. Sampdoria settling for defending closer to the edge of their penalty area, and they're doing it with some difficulty. Toninho Cerezo, the veteran Brazilian who's been push back into the libero role, finding problems there, dealing with the ball into the heart of the penalty area, and it's led to this Inter corner. Number 5, Dino Baggio, has come forward. He nearly made contact too. Cerezo headed it rather better that time. Back from Matthaus. Brehme going in at the near post. Cerezo got his head to it a third time. And in the end, Pagliuca not called upon. Desideri's got a real eye for a chance from midfield.
It's great to see Cerezo still playing, because many felt in Italy that last year would have been his last year and he would have retired, but still playing, and surprising to see him in the libero role, because we've become accustomed to seeing Luca Pellegrini there last season, and he was allowed to move on, and we felt that would become a permanent position for Lana, but he finds himself on the substitutes bench today, and it's Cerezo who's been pushed back from midfield into that sweeper role. I think he played well during the week by all accounts, and that's why he's been retained in that position.
It's certainly an area to keep an eye on as to how well he'll cope in a match of this class. Antonets might have been a candidate for that job, but he's in midfield, the Yugoslav, tall figure. It's gone out of your picture, and Nicola Berti having a dialogue with the referee. It's Inter's ball, the free kick already taken. Silas, really a dream move for him to come to Sampdoria, having been in a relegation side last season with Cesena. Ooh, that's a nasty collision. Don't think anything too sinister about it, but it is Cerezo, who's the Sampdoria player, hurt. Klinsmann was trying to turn quickly and hit a shot, I think.
Yes, the free kick's given for Cerezo putting his foot up, which probably would have gone unpunished in England, but as we've seen many times on the continent, if you just raise your foot, it's immediately punished.
It's interesting you say that, Trevor. I was at Leeds against Liverpool yesterday, and Tony Dorigo got the ball for Leeds in the Liverpool penalty area, and it led to the only goal of the game, and he went in very similar to the way Cerezo went in there. So, a chance. It's an indirect free kick, surely for dangerous play, although the referee not at the moment raising an arm. Brehme takes it onto the far side, and the bumping and barging there, catching the eye of the referee. Inter felt that they might have got more. They got nothing, in fact.
As an attacker in Italy, when it's a free kick or a corner, it's so difficult trying to get a position. The pushing and shoving that takes place, it's really frustrating for an attacker, and 9 times out of 10 it's the defensive side that gets the reward of a free kick, as we saw on that occasion there. Plenty of pushing, but free kick given to Sampdoria.
Coming up to 9 minutes gone, it's Sampdoria, the champions, 0, Inter, the league leaders, 0. But that might change. Here's Lombardo, and the referee's got to step in here, and it's a yellow card to Brehme. Lombardo, who really is fleet of foot, and he was past the Inter captain until that crude challenge.
And there's the man in your picture, Mancini, who's the instigator of that move. Sweet pass inside of Brehme, put him in all sorts of trouble. He knew about the pace of Lombardo.
Vialli waiting on the far post. It doesn't get to him as Catanets came in. The two powerful figures there, Catanets and Bjerkevod, attacking the free kick at the far post. And Catanets complaining that it should have been a corner. Inter, who drew their opening game against Foggia, then won their only away game in the league so far at Roma, 1-0. Beat Verona 2-0 when it could have been 6 or more last Sunday. For Sampdoria's part, a defeat on the opening day of the season, a shock one in Sardinia to Cagliari. They then beat Verona here and drew in Bari a week ago, a match that really they should have won. So 3 points out of 6 for the champions, and Vujadin Boskov not too concerned about the loss of the points, because as he points out, the team's been playing well enough. Ferry.
I think Boskov realises, though, Martin, how difficult it is to win the championship second time round. It's been quite a few years since it was actually done. I believe it was in the years of Liam Brady with Juventus. It's a very, very difficult task, something that I'm sure that Arsenal are experiencing this season.
Lombardo using his speed to keep the ball in, but trying to direct the cross, it was beyond him.
I'm sure the respective managers, Boskov and George Graham, won't exactly admit it, but I would think that their thoughts are firmly fixed on this European Cup for this season. Obviously they would like to win the league championship, but I'm sure that if they had a choice, it would be the European Cup.
Forward from Brehme. It's an interesting role given to the young signing from Torino, Dino Baggio, pushing forward in the early stages from midfield.
Well, the Inter manager Oracle said that he had a surprise up his sleeve, and wasn't quite sure what it was going to be. That appears to be it. Baggio pushing forward, trying to support Klinsmann, who's really been left alone up front. As I've said before, with Ciotti on the bench and also Fontalan, two outstanding forwards, it does seem a rather waste that Inter adopt these tactics away from home.
Yes, in a way, the worst thing that happened from the entertainment point of view was that they won away to Roma in the Olympic Stadium, but Silas going on, and well, the pass that he thought was on to the left-hand side was cut off very adroitly by Bianchi, who is a wholehearted team player up and down the right-hand side.
Yes, I was just going to say, an unsung hero, really. You hear so much about the likes of Matthaus and Klinsmann, and one or two of the internationals like Berti and Ferri, but he doesn't get too many mentions, Bianchi, but such a hard-working type. It was so important there that he got back, really, to prevent Sampdoria from having a clear attempted goal.
Baggio, who is not related to Roberto of the same surname. Lombardo and Sampdoria trying to control the game at a pace which will not let Inter settle to this cautious style. Lombardo putting the ball out there because of the problem for Bjerkevod, and if he's down hurt, you can be sure he does need a bit of attention. Went in, and was Baggio who was the player for Inter involved. 327 games in the Italian First Division. Alongside that, 38 international appearances, and they've ruled him out a few times, Trevor, but they keep going back to him.
Yes, in my opinion, he's still one of the best defenders in Italy. He was certainly one of the quickest in my time, and he's now, what, 32 years of age?
Yeah.
Doesn't seem to have lost too much pace. Still one of the quickest defenders around, and any player that's got pace in defensive areas are always a difficult proposition for the opposing forwards, and he certainly has got plenty of pace. He's limping about there now, but Give him a couple of minutes, he'll be back running around okay. He's a tough character.
We've had the opening 15 minutes. Ferri. Serie staying on the left of Inter's midfield. Vialli. Mancini giving it away. Sampdoria are a side with one or two exceptions that have been together for a good few years now. And there's plenty of coordination here. Inter worked hard to try and win the ball in the Sampdoria half. Serie. Now Catanets. And it has to go back, and that's credit to Inter, who are not going to let those passes, which were put together in an eye-catching way, move forward. They were predominantly across the pitch. Serie turns it back. Zenga, 51 appearances for Italy. Made his debut for Inter, ironically against Sampdoria 8 years ago this month.
I mentioned at the top of the programme that the stadium is a fantastic stadium, but the actual surface is not in really immaculate condition. And that's something I noticed a couple of weeks ago when we saw the game in Rome. The pitch there wasn't exactly in fantastic condition. As you can see, the picture at the moment, a lot of bare patches, and so early in the season, must be a little bit concerned, I would think, the Sampdoria and Genoa officials, because we're nowhere near the winter time yet, and as we get nearer to Christmas and beyond, I can see the pitch being a little bit bare in certain areas, and may cause them one or two problems.
And Mancini, who's on the ball here, has been most outspoken in his criticism of the pitch, and indeed others, as you say, Trevor, around Italy. Whether he'll blame the pitch for that poor cross, I wouldn't have thought so, but he's actually called for the players' strike. But it's just not good enough, that they're professional in every sense in their preparation for the game, but they should be given the proper surface on which to show off their skills. A lot of it does date back, of course, to the World Cup, and the way the grounds used, and I must say this is not really a surface worthy of a club that are the reigning champions of Italy.
But I think to suggest that the players go on strike is taking it to the extreme, surely.
Well, he was trying to make his point. And Mancini, as you know better than I do, is somebody who will have his say when he wants to. Serie with a header that had Cerezo back in that covering role. Here's Catanets. Can't be easy for him playing at the moment with his homeland in such turmoil. Brehme. Waiting for some movement, but it's only Klinsmann who's really in a forward position. Very nearly got through for Paganini. Berti trying to angle it inside the defender. Silas. Here's Orlando. It's a fine ball, Brehme alongside Mancini. Well, the expression tells the story. Mancini feeling that he was just nudged at the crucial moment. It's been said often enough before that those who make a real study of Andy Brehme's play do feel that he is vulnerable defensively. Such a fine player going forward with great vision in his passing and great power in his shooting.
Well, that'll certainly be put to the test this afternoon, because Lombardo is playing against probably the best winger in Italy, certainly one of the fastest.
Brehme, with 20 minutes gone. Paganini was able to control the ball only after the whistle had gone. He's a former Sampdoria player, incidentally. Between 1984 and 1988, he earned his living in Genoa, played 46 First Division games. There's a slip by Paddy, and Desideri with a terrific ball. And it was Berti's chance on the far side. And in the context of this game, which has had a fairly cautious start, it was a good chance. Pari will be mightily relieved that his slip didn't cost a goal. Great appreciation in the pass from Desideri, but here's Lombardo, and Brehme is there in front of Mancini.
Yes, I think we saw a wrong selection there from Lombardo. Tried to find Mancini with the header, but on his left, obviously he wasn't aware of it, was Katanic, who made a good run to make a 2-on-1 situation.
And Berti's chance.
Yeah, good ball in from Desideri, played with the outside of his foot. It's always gone away from Berti, left him a rather difficult angle, didn't hit it cleanly, and Pagliuca made a comfortable save. That's the first chance we've had.
There might be another one here. It's behind Klinsmann, it nearly came for Desideri. Sampdoria had enough bodies back. And Lombardo just trying to prove the point that Trevor was making about the challenge he could mount to Brehme, but he ran out of room.
Well, he got past Brehme okay, but like a good player he is, Desideri was doubling up to provide cover for Brehme.
Desideri beaten though by Manini, now Mancini. Vialli, Silas. And Sampdoria looking to be quite intricate there, but giving into a problem in doing that. We're halfway through the first half. Now Silas is a set-piece specialist, as of course is Mancini.
It appears that every team in Italy has a set-piece specialist.
As you can see, Sampdoria have got several. But the Brazilians always back themselves. But it's Vialli who takes it, and Silas turned his back then. Yeah, he was hoping, maybe even expecting Vialli to run over it, but I think you've got to be a Sampdoria player for a bit longer than Silas has been to overrule Gianluca Vialli in those circumstances. Klinsmann's header, but again scant support for him.
I was interested in the reaction there of the Sampdoria players after that rather pathetic free kick from Vialli, which didn't cause one problem for Zenga. No form of protest or criticism at all. That's one thing in Italy, that no matter how many times you try it go, they always encourage you to come back again.
Silas. Diakavado is moving more freely now. Katanet's trying to claim it on the edge of the area. Intercoped calmly enough. Oh, and that's a stray one from Ferri. Oh, Mancini. Zenga looks at Riccardo Ferri, his battle-hardened defender for Inter and for Italy, who made an astonishing error of judgment then. And Mancini, well, he couldn't believe his luck, and he certainly didn't make anything of it.
Well, when I saw Ferri playing the ball back, I couldn't believe it. Not that I could see Mancini in the picture, but I felt that he was playing it blindly. It's one thing you never do as a defender without looking, play the ball back to your keeper. No surprise when Mancini was there. It was a surprise to finish, because that was a very, very bad finish by Mancini. Should hit the target from that situation. Undoubtedly the best chance we've had so far.
In the final analysis, that could be a very significant miss. Serie moving into midfield, and it's a free kick conceded by Ferry, who's not having a very good spell at the moment.
Mancini's tried to hit the ball across Zenga to the far post, but trying to do so, he's only succeeded in dragging it way past the far post.
And here's Mancini again, and Zenga with a terrific tackle. Well, an outfield player couldn't have done better, but Inter have gone to pieces for the moment. They were looking at the linesman and then realised that the game was still going on, and now there is an offside decision. But Zenga, who could have given away a penalty, could have got himself sent off in the current climate, came up with the answer then. Well, he's paid to use his hands, but he stuck out a foot then, and because of that, Inter escaped huge embarrassment. If Mancini had been able to hit the target, that's perhaps a biggish if at the moment, coming straight after the miss. You can see why Mancini has perhaps failed with Italy, where his goal-scoring record has really been nothing like the way he's been getting goals in club football.
Yes, two quite extraordinary moments there that could have given Sampdoria the opportunity to go ahead. Certainly the first one was a great chance. The second one, not really a chance, but I felt that Mancini should have done better. One against one with the keeper, should have looked to have at least got the cross into the box.
That's Pagliuca's. Goalkeepers are nervy characters these days because of this rule where you can't pick the ball up twice. And I think Pagliuca was in danger of doing that. Look at that, he's put it down, and that would have been a free kick. But fortunately, Parry was aware of the rule rather better than his goalkeeper. And then he was tripped, and suddenly this league, which is very proud of the way the teams defend in it, is looking, well, not so secure in that respect. We've had 2 moments of chaos at the right-hand end as we look, and one just now almost brought about by Pagliuca. Bardo getting a toe in, Brehme angry that he didn't get a call. Pagani. Brehme for Inter. Here's Serie. Inter got more players forward this time. Serie took that on the chest, and the cushioning of the ball was high class. It looked a bit risky, but he executed it well enough. There was a wince from Trevor Francis alongside me.
Yes, I thought it was risky. It's not something that I think the recognised defender would have done. I think he showed his qualities there of the midfield player.
Here's a recognised defender, Brehme. Serie with a hoisted, hopeful ball in. Bianchi couldn't manufacture a second cross. Inter finished 3rd last season, 5 points behind Sampdoria, and the difference in points was all in away matches. They had identical home records, and for much of last season we did criticise Inter for being cautious and taking 1 point where 2 might have been available in away matches. But there's a change at the top now. Corrado Orico on the right.
Yes, that proved to be a big difference last year, whereas with Lombardo, Vialli and Mancini, Sampdoria went looking for victories away from home, and Inter never did so, and really, you could say it cost them the championship.
I think the figures certainly support that argument. 15 minutes to go to half-time. And Vialli raising a foot at Brehme. But every challenge here getting a sporting response from players, which is, as I said at the outset, part of a code of conduct here that the top professionals want to implement it. It's not always easy in the heat of the battle, but they feel they can set the example to the hotheads in the crowd.
No, that was one thing that came to my notice immediately in Italy, is that every player has got great respect for one another.
Vialli. It's a corner.
We tend to see in the press in England on many occasions players perhaps unnecessarily criticising one another. That never seems to happen in Italy. They go the opposite way, they always give praise. And that's not a bad thing.
Mancini to take the corner. Vialli right in on the goalkeeper. And again, it's the power men from the back coming in. It was Catanets who got to it. Mancini also was making a run. But Zenga always gives the impression that this is just a training exercise until a goal goes in, when he looks for the nearest person to blame. Corrado Orico is 51 years old. He's the younger of the two coaches here. Boskov passed his 60th birthday in that successful season for Sampdoria.
But if Inter don't win the championship, by the end of the season, Orico will feel about 60 himself.
Very. Here's Silas, and movement from Mancini, but not with the ball in the end. Brehme, cut out by Catanets. Lombardo, can he stretch his legs here? Well, it was a good idea to get the cross early. He'd seen Vialli coming in towards the near post area, but Lombardo wasn't able to loft it beyond the first defender. There was a fitness doubt, incidentally, about Matthaus, who was injured early in the match in midweek in the UEFA Cup in Portugal. Just got a knock on the same point there from Mancini. It was an ankle problem, we understand. It's not been a match that's been littered with fouls. But the onus is on Sampdoria, given the way Inter picked their team here to make the running. But they will be mindful of what happened to Roma, who tried to do that 2 weeks ago and lost in the closing stages. Mancini. Crossing hasn't been of the best quality in this match so far. Both sides have been guilty in that respect.
Well, the longer it stays 0-0, the more it's going to suit Orico, the Inter manager, because, as I said earlier, he's got Ciocci, he's got Fontaline on the bench. He can always use them if he needs to in the latter stages of the game.
Pagani's pass was a poor one. And it's Mancini who's raced through. The ball switched from one end to the other, and Sampdoria suddenly have found Mancini in a more ruthless mood in front of goal. He didn't have so much time to think about that one, and he swept it past Zenga. The goal coming in the 34th minute, and Inter will be furious that there wasn't enough depth in their defending then. But Sampdoria are thrilled with Mancini's burst to a brilliant long ball. Bierkabod, who hit it over the top, and Mancini was straight through. The direct route to a 1-0 lead. Mancini, the mood in the stadium has changed dramatically, and Trevor Francis is smiling alongside me.
Yes, up until now I've been thinking how jaded Mancini's been looking, but that was a magnificent finish. Great through ball from Vialli. Mancini got away from Brehme and finished in great style. It was interesting though that Brehme probably could have stopped Mancini, but it would have resulted in perhaps pulling his shirt back, and having been booked already, he had second thoughts about it, because if he had done so, he'd been sent off immediately. I don't know if we'll get to see it again shortly, but you can see in the picture that we could definitely have stopped him.
But here come Inter, through some Sampdoria overindulgence. But I think that's the rule that has, if it's applied properly, been welcomed really all around the world. If Brehme pulls Mancini down there, he should be sent off straight away.
I couldn't agree more, Martin. I was naturally pleased that he didn't pull him back, but I think he must have had thoughts about it. But as I say, having already been booked, he had second thoughts.
And Sampdoria have a spring in their step. Orlando. Vialli lets Berti take over. A foul by Serie.
What was Berti saying there, that it wasn't a foul?
Well, we were talking about the spirit of cooperation, and that would be carrying it a bit far. Maybe he was just saying, just let's get on with the game, no card. There was no sign that the referee was going to produce a card. Well, it's certainly forced a rethink for Inter now. And I wonder whether they'll bring an extra attacker on at half-time. Possibly not if the game stays at 1-0, they'll leave it till later. But Mancini leads Inter a dance again. Everyone trying to slip it through to Vialli. The two of them have this almost telepathic understanding.
Yes, they do have, but they also got great pace. In Vialli, Mancini and Lombardo, Sampdoria have got great pace in forward positions. Doesn't matter who you're playing against, it's always going to cause problems.
Here's Berti, causing problems at the other end. Oh, and that could have broken for Klinsmann. Serie was in there as well. Serie just happy to get it out of play. And we really have got a game on our hands now. The longer it stayed at 0-0, the more Inter would have felt that their approach was justified, and that outcome at the end of 90 minutes would be satisfactory.
Oh, undoubtedly, that's what the game needed. And it's been a good reaction from Inter. Good run into the box there from Berti. Unfortunately, the final ball not quite right for his colleagues, but all sorts of permutations now. Does Rico bring on another forward half-time? Do they continue the way it is with just Klinsmann up front? Certainly in for a very, very interesting second half.
And the 7 minutes that remain in the first. And of course they can get goals from their midfield players. Matthaus is the shining example of that. Serie has a good track record in that respect. And there's Nicola Berti as well, who loves breaking into the penalty area. He'll have more licence to do that now, I'm sure. Vialli with a cross, and that's Paganini.
And Matthaus playing in a more advanced role than Martin, because in 40 minutes this afternoon he's played virtually in front of his back four. It's obviously a tactic from Rico, because we mentioned the fact that Baggio is pushing forward, trying to support Klinsmann. And what it has done, in fact, is not allowed Matthaus to push forward. And he's so much more effective when he's going forward, trying to get those blockbusters in on target.
Well, you just wonder whether that's a concession made to this injury, to say just get out there and hold it in midfield. Your sheer presence is vital for us in a match of this magnitude. Whether he is 100% fit, I somewhat doubt that he is. But it's a free kick to Sampdoria, and Matthaus joins the posse, having to defend against it. Lombardo. Well, he wants to get one-on-one with Brehme as often as he can. We always say this about Lombardo when he features in main event on Sky Sports, but he is a lot younger than he looks. He's 25. Mancini to take Sampdoria's free kick, and it came to Lombardo, and Silas was there as well, and once more Catanach was causing the confusion. Klinsmann not able to collect. Parry saw to that. Here's Orlando. Sampdoria on a bit of a roll at the moment. Catanach got his head to it. Lombardo lines it up. 2 goals here against the Norwegians in the European Cup on Wednesday. He doesn't get too many in the Italian First Division, but he's not frightened of shooting from that sort of distance.
On so many occasions on a Sunday afternoon watching Italian football, we see the opposing managers who are playing against Inter having to sort of change their tactics to stop Brehme from making them forward surges down that left flank. But of course that's not a problem, is it, for Boskov? With Lombardo there, he's more of a threat to Inter than vice versa.
Yes, Brehme is first and foremost a defender here, but Inter will want him, and he is a great provider of opportunities if he can get forward. They'll have to try and adjust in some way to improve their thrust down the left.
What Sampdoria are doing is they're allowing the other fullback, Paganini, to have as much of the ball as possible, because they know that having had him here at Sampdoria, he's not particularly blessed with great feet, and he's not a great attacking player at all, so they're quite happy for him to have as much of the ball.
Brehme, confronted by Lombardo, whipped in by Matthaus, met by Serie, who's doing well in this deeper role. Brehme calling angrily for a bit more movement, a bit more willingness to go in and try and get the ball up front. You really can accuse Klinsmann of hiding, but he can't do all the running. Desideri. Sampdoria 1, Inter 0. Half-time approaching.
I find that rather ironic that Brehme is complaining about lack of forward movement when there are 2 forwards on the bench in Ciacci and Fontelan. It's a real problem for Klinsmann, because when you're playing against the likes of Vialli and Mancini and Cerezo sweeping.
That's Parry, who looked across for the linesman after that collision, he would say, with Baggio. Certainly worth another look. Baggio took the ball, and there was feeling Parry hip to hip and rolled on the hip and went down.
My first reaction was that it wasn't a penalty, but it was certainly a great try from Baggio.
It comes with the name, maybe. That would have been the last thing Sampdoria would have wanted right on half-time, but I suppose they might have had some hope had it been a penalty, given what happened to Inter last week. I'm sure Desideri would now be the first choice, or maybe not with Matthaus and Brehme. But here's Vialli. The odds were really against him, but it's lifted the crowd again.
Yes, it's the first real effort that we've seen in the opening 45 minutes from Vialli. Perhaps a little bit ambitious there against Italy's #1 goalkeeper Zenga, but worth a try. I mean, we've seen him score so many spectacular goals when we've felt that it's been not possible to score. He's obviously in confident mood, having made a good start with 2 goals from the opening 3 games. And when you're feeling that sort of mood, it's certainly worth a try.
Lombardo. Silas. Sampdoria playing in their little triangles here, close to the edge of their own penalty area. And Cerezo almost setting the style. And that's a push. Although Catanets maybe didn't have the ball within playing distance. But it's ironic that Berti was very angry in his protests. And he's got into trouble with the referee. He's had his yellow card. But it's ironic that Sampdoria, who like to play this short passing game, have broken this match wide open with one of the longest passes of the first half, which Mancini read and then rifled past Senga.
Yes, it was a superb pass too from Vialli. Not the type of pass that you come to expect from a marker who's primarily in the team to stop the opposition's main forward from scoring, in this case Klinsmann. But that was a pass worthy of a Baggio or a Matthaus. Superb forward pass.
We're deep into stoppage time, as you can see. And it's been a half that was slow to come to the boil, but was already rippling with promise before the goal, when Mancini had those 2 openings in a matter of seconds. Cut out by Pari. Silas, who seems to have fitted in snugly. Never easy for players who join sides that have just won a major trophy. There's a feeling of unity in the dressing room. The newcomer is not always quite as welcome as he should be. He's going to take somebody's place.
Just taking you up on that point, Martin, I think he was fortunate that he came in to replace Mikhailichenko, who wasn't particularly well liked by 1 or 2 of the Sampdoria players, so they welcome the new foreign player.
Desideri's shot, and it nearly turned into a ricochet that troubles Sampdoria. But Mikhailichenko wasn't in the team. He's actually got a place in the team through Dossena having not been fit through the summer, and although he is fit now, he's on the bench today. Dossena had contributed greatly last season. It's half-time in Genoa. Roberto Mancini's goal for... But with a match of this importance, there's no problem with motivation. Niño Cerezo in his berth at the back will try to keep it tidy defensively for Sampdoria in the defence of the lead that Mancini's given to them. Matthaus. And here's Paganin with his shirt being tugged. Just looking round now at the Inter players, see what move Rico has made, and Fontalan is on. Oh! It was Andy Brehme coming in on the edge of the penalty area. It's Klinsmann who went for it. Fontalan is the other fair-haired player, the number 14, and Brehme who had the shot. So Rico, Trevor Francis, we thought might wait a little while, but he's recognised the urgency at half-time.
Yes, it's a wise decision, I feel. In the opening 45 minutes, there was only one occasion when Inter looked like scoring. That was when we had that great pass from Desideri for Berti. Apart from that, they never really threatened the Sampdoria goal.
Klinsmann has got some company up front now. Fontolan, the striker who was signed from Genoa, there he is. But missed the entire last season because of a serious knee injury. Quite on the same wavelength as Bertie. As Inter look to construct that. There's Boskov at the far end of the Sampdoria bench. Jacket off. A magnificent and nomadic career as a coach. So often the Yugoslavs work their way around Europe. He's coached in Spain and Holland. Brehme. Trevor, what would you suspect Sampdoria's approach would be now? There is a tendency in Italy to settle on a one-goal advantage.
Yes, I think that we've seen that on many occasions in Italy, but I don't think Sampdoria will sit on this 1-0 advantage. If you look at the formation of the team, with the likes of Lombardo, Mancini, Vialli and Silas clontering from behind, they've got too many attacking options, and it's not a team really that can go out and defend. Of course, they have one or two options on the bench, one or two perhaps who could come on and defend, the likes of Lana and Invernizzi. But I think at the moment, the players they are in hope to try and get a second goal.
Brehme is headed down from Baggio. And Inter sent out, I'm sure, in a positive frame of mind, and they're keeping Sampdoria pen back at the moment. That's Bianchi, and it's veered away for the corner.
Already in these opening couple of minutes in the second half, it's a different Inter, certainly more positive. The introduction of Fontolan has made a big difference. They're now pushing forward in search of this equaliser.
Brehme's corner, just too high for Klinsmann. Catanets met it soundly for Sampdoria. And they won't be too despondent if they've got to play on the break. It suits their style. Vialli, and the flag is up against Silas.
Yes, you are right. There's no better team in Italy than Sampdoria playing on the break. Keep mentioning the players who have got pace. When you have pace, you can play on the break. They'll be looking to the likes of Viequid, Manini, Pari, Serie, and of course the goalkeeper Pagliuca to defend this 1-0 advantage. And I'm sure that you'll find that Sampdoria will get as many chances in the first half. Sorry, in the second half as they did in the first half, because they are good on the break.
But they are struggling at the moment. Paganini. It was Viequid who just got to it. Fontolan. Mancini able to just manoeuvre the ball and his body as well to make it difficult for Inter to take it away from him without giving away a free kick. We saw referee Amendolia on the opening day of the season, Juventus against Fiorentina. Got the firm grip then. Does it all in a very matter-of-fact sort of way. Klinsmann. Very nearly got past the Viequid, and then Orlando came back. Klinsmann was certainly on course to go places here for Inter. And he seems really like a character who's been given a real lift by Fontolan coming on.
Yes, Inter at the start of the second half, unrecognisable from the first half, playing with much more initiative, certainly more positive. The half-time team talks certainly worked.
Matthaus, and who's going to hit this one? Well, Bertie and Bianchi couldn't quite work it out themselves. That's Brehme, who does love hitting that ball from left to right and does it with commendable accuracy usually. notice Sampdoria taking an extra touch or two at the throws already. Not so much to waste time for the whole of the half, but just to try and stop Inter perhaps getting the ball quickly while their blood is up and they're pushing on with much more menace in the second half. Silas. Pari. Now Mancini. Brehme got his tackle in. This is Baggio. And Cerezo defending sternly and fairly. And Vialli and the crowd getting behind him. Paganini, the defender. Vialli's pass is a very subtle one for Silas. And it needed Berti to cover the run, to defend from midfield.
All of a sudden now Sampdoria finding openings that they weren't there in the opening 45 minutes. That's because Inter are pushing forward, leaving one or two gaps. Certainly making for a very, very interesting and a very open second half.
Sampdoria have the corner. Zenga pats at it rather, but the whistle had gone, and or had it gone? It hadn't gone. Matthaus thought he'd heard something, and the referee had not blown, and Lothar Matthaus, of all players, the current European Footballer of the Year, thought the game had stopped when it hadn't. Had there been a whistle in the crowd? If there had been, it wasn't possible to detect from our microphones. Zenga wasn't, I don't think, too pleased with his effort, although it cleared the penalty area. And look at that. And Catanet's the first to say, you can't let him do that. And of course, this is a season where deliberate handball is going to be very much in focus. If you handle it on the line, you get sent off to stop a goal. Wasn't such a case in point. Matthaus explaining why he had that aberration, if he can explain it. And his face will be very red indeed if Sampdoria come up with a free kick here to beat Zenga and get a second goal. It's Mancini, and the wall spares the blushes of Matthaus. And Fontolan, who played his football in this stadium for Genoa, was looking as though he was in unfamiliar territory, close to the edge of his own penalty area then.
Just wonder if that had anything to do with substitution, the fact that Fontolan was preferred to Chiocci. Fontolan, as you say, played here with Genoa, certainly knows the pitch very well. With Chiocci, when he came on against Roma, certainly turned the game, winning the penalty. Looked to be very, very lively in that period when he came on the field.
And came on the week before that to get the equaliser against Foggia. He came on last week and missed a penalty, so maybe that's in the thinking as well. Well, at times, Sreka Catanets looks ungainly and clumsy, but he kept control then to worry Inter and the two immediate opponents, Perry and Paganini. And he's produced a free kick, which Mancini will take charge of.
That was a perfect example of how to win a free kick.
Catanets, who's wheeling in the centre, hoping for a cross to get his head to, but Mancini had other ideas that time. Clearance from Bianchi. Mancini's pass, and Lombardo in behind Inter. Lombardo again, and still Lombardo! He goes to the crowd in salute. Zenga saw something wrong and protests.
Yes, and I think what he's protesting about is the fact that I think you'll see Mancini, who stood in an offside position as the ball hits the back of the net.
I wonder whether they thought Lombardo handled as the ball broke back to him here. Did he use a left hand? They were certainly appealing.
Well, Mancini is definitely offside. But did he interfere with play?
Well, it's academic now because the goal counts and Sampdoria lead Inter by 2. And Lombardo, who grabbed those 2 goals in midweek in the European Cup, has sent a screaming left-footed shot past Zenga here in the Italian First Division. This the 4th round of league matches, and Sampdoria going into it 2 points behind Inter and expecting now to close that gap at the final whistle here. Fontolan. Paganini, and Pagliuca waves that one goodbye.
I have to say though, Martin, it was awful defending by Inter. Initially they were trying to push up to play offside. The long ball from Mancini found them wanting and gave a lot of space to Lombardo. But I thought Inter had got away with it because the initial cross from Lombardo failed to beat the first man. But the second part of the defending wasn't good enough, allowing Lombardo to get in the opportunity to get the shot in. It should have been closed down much quicker. You can't really fault Zenga because he was given no chance. It was a great shot, just creeping inside the near post. But I have to say that Mancini was definitely in an offside position.
And we certainly saw that those closest to Lombardo, defending for Inter, felt that he helped to control the ball with a left arm. It's certainly a goal that's produced a couple of talking points, but it's in the record books. There's Baggio heading forward from midfield again for Inter, who have taken off Serie, who got the 2 goals last week, to introduce Fontolan for the second half.
Which suggests that Matthaus must be 100% fit.
This is Bianchi with Orlando making contact with the ball. Orlando, like Silas, is a newcomer this season to Sampdoria. Matthaus to take the corner. We're coming up to 15 minutes played in the second half. And Sampdoria have gone a bit to sleep. And it's going to be another corner. Well, the point Trevor made earlier, that they do know all about Paganini, and maybe they feel that he's not going to score from that distance. They certainly neglected to mark him on the edge of the area. Fontolan trying to take up a position then, and Sampdoria still unable to clear the immediate danger.
Yes, you do feel if Inter are going to get back in this game, they have to score immediately.
Matthaus tries again. Klinsmann climbed well enough. And while he's on the pitch, he certainly won't let the Sampdoria defenders rest on their laurels. And he's still looking for his first goal of the season in the league. The longer that goes on, the more it will be pointed out in the Italian media. Matthaus. Now Baggio. Well, the corners bringing Inter closer and closer to getting a goal. Can Klinsmann get free again? Oh, and they've let it bounce, and it bounced over Klinsmann. That was an astonishing lapse by Sampdoria. No one took responsibility then, and there's an inquest going on now. How rare that is, to see a corner land and nobody, friend or foe, made contact with it. Klinsmann tried. We're going to see now the episode, the stretch there by Catanets that caused him some discomfort. But I'd love to have seen the corner again.
And so many times on this programme I've said how poor Italian defences are at defending from corners. And once again there we saw another example. They just don't seem to attack the ball with any conviction.
Now Catanets is off for the time being. This is Bianchi. Into the head only of Vialli. Bianchi again. And that's the goalkeepers. That was a wasted position. But Pagliuca has thrown it out poorly. And it's a free kick to Inter because of that. And Lana is going to come on, but is he going to be on in time? They can make the substitution now. The throw has been taken, but the referee says it was taken prematurely. And Catanets is replaced by Marco Lana, who comes from Genoa. He's had a lot of injury problems in Italy. Catanets came here from the German club Stuttgart. But where will Lana go and play now? Will it take over the job that Catanets was doing?
No, I would think Martinelli would go as sweeper and Cerezo would push into midfield. But then again, I'm not the manager of Sampdoria, I'm the manager of Sheffield Wednesday.
Bianchi's header keeping the pressure on. Mancini steered it away. Brehme, who can hit them from this distance. Oh, and it seemed to skim through past Vialli then. Whether it did take a touch off him wasn't totally clear. But that's where Brehme is in a class of his own. Hitting shots, balls that bounce awkwardly from that type of angle. Mancini. Sampdoria not really resting on their laurels, but they are being forced back by Inter, who came out with a change in personnel, a change in attitude at the second half, and will feel, given the nature of the goal, distinctly unfortunate to be two adrift.
I personally feel that one of the reasons why Sampdoria have had so much success in these last few years.
No offside. And is it going to be number 3 for Vialli? The goal is open. And Inter have been caught out again. We talked about the counter-attacking class of Sampdoria, and it's shone through here. The linesman had a good look and said no offside, and there's few better than Vialli one-on-one with the goalkeeper. Even a goalkeeper of Zenga's calibre.
That's a class finish. I have to say the linesman was correct. It was a well-timed run from Vialli. That's superb finishing. Just touches it around Zenga, calmly puts it into an empty net.
And I think, Trevor, another opportunity to applaud the administrators who've amended the law, because we've had a couple of goals here which I think wouldn't have happened before the change in emphasis. Brehme would have brought down Mancini on the first one and given away a penalty, and Zenga might have been tempted, if he could have got close to Vialli, and that's a big if, to bring him down. But now, had he done that, it would have been a red card, he'd have been off, and the goal is there, the entertainment is there. On this occasion, Inter have been on the wrong end of both those Sampdoria attacks. Ciocci is the last card that Orico can play, another attacker, and Inter are going to have a crack. But with some 23 minutes to go. But our feeling was that Vialli was definitely onside.
Oh, most definitely. I watched the run very carefully of Vialli. He timed it perfectly, and I would say it was a good yard onside.
And here they come again. This could turn into a rout, because Inter now have really gambled with their formation. Cereso's got into the middle, and it was very nearly a chance for him. He's still got energy to burn. Matthaus with the pass, and there's no gap with Cereso having launched himself upfield. Vialli was there, but he's made a stray pass, and he makes up for his own mistake.
If I could just return to the point I was making when Vialli was making that well-timed run, I was saying about the success that Sampdoria have had in the last few years. Unless they break again here.
This time it is offside.
This time I will get it in. No, I think the man who plays such a big part in it has got to be Boskov. So refreshing his attitude towards football, whereas we see so many teams going away from home in Italy trying for 0-0. But Sampdoria, he's adopted a very attacking attitude, whether it's home or away. He tries to win the game. I'm sure that's the reason why they won the European Cup Winners' Cup. That's why they won the Championship last year, and that's why they're favourites to win the European Cup this year.
I'm just thinking, Trevor, is he the only non-Italian coach in the First Division?
Martin, you're the expert.
Well, off the top of my head, I can't think of any others. There's a change, a second for Sampdoria, and Invernizzi, who's been a good squad man here, comes on for Orlando. Matthaus with the free kick, and the combined blonde challenge of Klinsmann and Fontolan. It's hard to pick out which is which from this distance, but Vialli certainly felt one of them, Klinsmann presumably. Matthaus. Mancini, who is much more of a team figure now. Of course, the captaincy that he acquired has been responsible for this greater maturity that he's shown. But he has been penalised. It is an Inter free kick. Matthaus takes it. It's Baggio who's trying to make something from the ball in from Matthaus. Bianchi. It's a promising position for Inter. Lana guarding the near post. And Baggio with a clever turn. Berti. This is Klinsmann. It came over Fontolan, and it came too quickly to Matthaus. And it wasn't a straightforward opportunity by any means. But with Matthaus and his ability to be accurate, anything that he misses, you always give it more than a passing glance to see whether he could have done more, particularly when he's in a team, and unusual for him, a team that's 3-0 down. That's the scenario here. Sampdoria 3, Inter 0. Here's Invernizzi, anxious to make an impact. Lombardo's cross, Cereso right in there again. Vialli was on the far post from Lombardo's point of view, the near side as we looked. Last season, Sampdoria did the double over Inter. And the results were exactly reversed when Inter won the championship, so maybe this is something of a barometer on a wider issue. Matthaus. And Serie. Well, you wouldn't think that he is 36 years old. He's moved now into midfield and he's playing like a spring chicken. But there's still a feeling in this game that there'll be goals to come. Trevor Francis, Sampdoria could meet Arsenal in the European Cup this season. Can you, as a manager who's got to pick a team this season to try and beat Arsenal, can you make comparisons between the two?
I hope it's the final, because they're undoubtedly the best two teams in the European Cup. Very interesting to do a comparison between the two. I have to say that if you push me, I would slightly favour Arsenal.
Why?
Well, there are many reasons. I think that tactically George Graham is very astute. I feel that you know, throughout the season, last season and season when he's won the championship, he's changed from an orthodox back four to playing with five. He's very flexible in forward positions, using Merson and Limpar in various positions.
Flexible here is Vialli for Sampdoria. Are they really going to ice their cake today? Silas, Serie. Carry on, Trevor.
Yes, I was saying they are very, very flexible, and I certainly feel you need that in Europe. You have different problems to overcome, and undoubtedly against this Sampdoria side, they would present them with problems. But I feel that in last year, Arsenal win the championship. They kept so many clean sheets of an outstanding goalkeeper in David Seaman, and I could see them going away on many occasions, getting a 0-0, bringing them back to Highbury and finishing the job off. And it wouldn't surprise me if Arsenal win the if they win the European Cup. In fact, I have tipped them, so therefore I do think that they can beat Sampdoria.
Mancini. I should point out, and it has been pre-season on both occasions, that Sampdoria have got the better of Arsenal. Last year in a match at Wembley, a goal from Dossena. Sampdoria won 1-0. This year the match was staged at Highbury, and it went to penalties. But that was all pre-season.
Another point also, which we don't tend to, you know, take into account on too many occasions, is that I also feel that a lot of the English players, or British players I should say, are that much stronger mentally, and I think that's very, very important in Europe. I know that Sampdoria have had experience winning the European Cup winners, but I just feel that you know, physically and mentally we are very, very strong.
Brehme. 15 minutes to go here in Genoa. And Inter trying to do more than play with just professional pride here. If things go wrong for them and they overcommit, they could end up being beaten by 4 or 5, which just doesn't happen to a club of Inter's calibre. But the key moments in this match have gone against them, and Sampdoria have accepted their chances with relish. Oh, and it would have been one back there, with Klinsmann rising majestically. But they've had problems with Pagliuca in the past, and the goalkeeper kept Klinsmann out once more.
Magnificent save, wasn't it? Point-blank header from Klinsmann. A little bit unlucky, but Pagliuca certainly showing once again today that I feel, in my opinion, he's the best keeper in Italy.
Matthaus with the corner, and you have to hand it to Klinsmann. There'd be some strikers, even at this level, who'd be shirking now with their team 3 goals adrift, just wanting to get the game over with and look forward to the next one and maybe better fortune. But Klinsmann is still flinging himself at every cross and still showing the sort of belief that Inter, even in this perilous position for them, that all is not yet lost. It's a great quality in German players. Brehme, Berti taking on Serie. There's Vialli. Silas waiting for the movement. It wasn't quite as conspicuous that time, and by a different route, Vialli and Silas nearly conjured up another chance between them. Matthaus. Klinsmann. We need him in the centre. And Invernizzi. And angry reactions there from Ciocci. He believed that he went down substitute to substitute in such a manner that it was a foul. Well, I think that replay shows that he was wrong if he did actually deep down believe it.
Invernizzi is quite right being annoyed there with Ciocci, because it's never a foul. He just threw himself to the floor, really in desperation, or frustration I should say, trying to get back into this game. But I feel it's 3-0. The game now is drifted away from them.
12 minutes to go. Brehme. Klinsmann. And there's Lombardo, showing that he's not lost his defensive discipline. One of the scorers, along with those who so often are on the mark in the major games, Mancini and Vialli. Fontolan didn't get it anything like far enough for Inter. Blocked by Lana. Mancini, look at that, for audacity, reflecting the belief that Sampdoria have from this performance. It's a match really, even at this early stage in the season, they couldn't afford to lose. Matthaus, Brehme, and Lombardo's there again.
No, I was just going to say it's a big win for Sampdoria, because from 3 games, just 3 points I believe prior to this game. It's not really a very positive start by them in trying to retain the championship, but this has brought them right back into the hunt. I know it's early days yet, but to have lost this would really have put them way behind in the championship race. But this has brought them right back into the contention.
Yes, league placing's not meaning too much at this stage, but they were 9th at the start of play. Inter certainly proud to be top, even if it was only after 3 matches. Dino Baggio with a distinctly overhit cross.
I think the problem that Boskov has got this season, trying to win the championship for the second time, sorry, is that it's hard to motivate the players consistently for each game, and as much as he can do, it all depends also on the players, and it's much easier, of course, when you have a big game of this proportion, because players don't need motivating, and that's why I feel that Sampdoria are going to be a threat in the European Cup, because it's new, they've never won it, and they can motivate themselves quite easily for it. And that's why also I feel that Arsenal, perhaps in the early part of this season, have struggled a little bit. Now, of course, they're coming back into form. They certainly showed it midweek with that great win in Europe. That was because they haven't won the European Cup, and the players are totally motivated for it.
Silas. Now Pari, and 1 or 2 little party pieces coming out from Mancini. Vialli trying to stay onside, Lombardo likewise, they both accomplished that. Lombardo will keep the ball in, knowing the dimensions of the pitch well. Cerezo able to pick his pass, and Vialli, well, maybe 7 times out of 10 would have cushioned that better and taken it into his stride for a shot straight away.
Yes, Vialli annoyed with himself there, because it was a good ball in from Cerezo. Vialli in 2 or 3 yards of space, which you don't normally find in the penalty box. But on this occasion, his first touch let him down, and the chance went to begging.
Inter still have an extra number of players forward, but the zip that they were putting into the second half at its early stages has understandably gone. They've got a free kick. I wonder how often we will see Fontolan and Ciocci and Klinsmann on the pitch at the same time this season. Maybe it will only be in emergencies such as this. It's a shame.
It is. I'd certainly like to see 2 out of 3, because I feel that with Klinsmann left alone by himself, doesn't give them enough attacking options. They are a better team when they have either Ciocci or Fontalan alongside Klinsmann.
Ciocci joining Klinsmann on the end of the wall. Is it going to be one of these haymakers from Lothar Matthaus? And the referee making it quite clear that no one's going to be allowed to break without getting into his bad books. Here's Matthaus, and the wall took the sting out of it, through the sting. Matthaus got 16 goals last season, a tremendous return, but he failed to beat Pagliuca. Remember, he had a penalty in the San Siro at a crucial stage, which the goalkeeper added to his list in that match of astonishing saves. Still, Klinsmann chases on. I felt it was a bit hard of Bertie Vogts. We'd shown the game here on Sunday afternoon coverage, when Klinsmann was left out by Germany for apparently a poor showing against Roma. Really had no help in that match and had to work alone up front. And Jürgen Klinsmann was very disappointed only to be a substitute at Wembley, a ground where he was very keen to make a mark. He did come on in the closing stages and went away a winner, which of course matters much. Bertie, who was the only Inter player to score against Sampdoria in the 2 league games last season, was on this ground. They lost 3-1. And still Sampdoria have some defending to do. 6 minutes to go. But you don't sense, Trevor, that there's any real worry there now, and that, although they wouldn't want to, they could afford to concede 1 goal. And Klinsmann is the one player who really has tried to make that happen.
3-0 defeat in Italy is the equivalent of a 5 or a 6-0 defeat in England. It really is a big hammering.
Bianchi trying to narrow the margin. Defeat it will surely be. I remember a couple of weeks ago, Trevor, you said when they got it right in Rome that Enrico would be in the headlines. He certainly was, just as you predicted, for the right reasons from his point of view. I wonder what they'll make of him in tomorrow's headlines. They'll certainly be fulsome in their praise for Boskov and Sampdoria. Silas, options right and left, it's Lombardo! A fantastic finale for Attilio Lombardo. Zenga may be surprised to be beaten on that near side, the near post from his point of view, but everything he's hitting at the moment is finding a way past the goalkeeper one way or another. And when you're relaxed, you're 3-0 up, you can just swing the right leg and suddenly you're 4-0 up.
Well, what can one say? That's an absolute magnificent goal from Lombardo. Lovely little pass from Silas into the path of Lombardo, and you don't stop them. Not even if you're Zenga.
The humiliation goes on for Inter. It's Matthaus on Klinsmann. Can he get one back here? No. Well, there are these statistics from the goal-scoring point of view. Four minutes to go, 4-0 the score. And if 3-0, as you were saying, Trevor, is a humiliation in Italy, how are they going to react here to a 4-0 drubbing?
Well, I have a feeling they may declare.
The smiles are on the faces of the Sampdoria players, and indeed, I'm sure all of you watching as neutrals. But Inter just want to get out of here. All was going well from their point of view in the 3 games they played Inter, with the notable exception of failing at taking penalties. 5 points out of 6, no one without 100% record, remember, after 3 games. Well, that was eminently satisfactory, but it's been put in an entirely different perspective now. And Lombardo heads it away, and he is on a hat-trick. Cerezo. Now Vialli. Viekabod. And Vialli is in. Is it going to be 5? They can't believe it here.
I think it's offside he's given. I think the linesman's made a mistake, he's given offside. Referee didn't realise, but I think you'll find he's given offside. A late decision.
Viekabod took it off, and Vialli wonders, was it him? He had Mancini in the middle. Certainly the referee had eyes only for the goal. And the offside, very belatedly, stops a 5-goal haul for Sampdoria. Maybe, given 1 or 2 other questionable moments, the linesman felt that although it was late, it better be given. It was one that you'd want to analyse again.
That was offside there from Mancini. But I think when you're playing at the pace that Sampdoria are playing, it's very, very difficult for the linesman to be correct on every occasion. Sometimes the ball or the movement from Vialli in that case, it's just too quick for the linesman. That's why it's always a risk trying to play offside.
Matthaus. Yes, we are wrong to expect a 100% record from linesman. I don't even think it's the best place to give the decision from. An elevated position would really give a better perspective. But I think in Italy here, they have an analysis in their television highlights program, which is screened just an hour after the final whistle on a Sunday, and they call it the moviola, and they look at key moments. And the first Lombardo goal, I'm sure, will be singled out for the 2 reasons that we talked about. Mancini offside, handball maybe by Lombardo. That was a major turning point in this match. If that hadn't been given, cross here, and we nearly had a goal for Inter, with Klinsmann taking it away from Fontelan, who's not too pleased about that. But it would have been an academic score in the circumstances.
No, but just going back to your point, Martin, Lombardo was clearly onside, and I think you'll find on the moviola that Vialli was also onside there. But I don't think Sampdoria will be too worried, because as it is, they've won 4-0, or I think they're going to win 4-0.
It's very nearly over for Inter, and they'll be very glad about that. It's been a second half drubbing for them. Lombardo. A match to remember for him. Vialli, who's taken his tally to 3 for the season, with the 3rd of Sampdoria's 4. And Dolia brandishing the yellow card in Brehme's direction. Well,
surely that's a bit harsh. Dying seconds of the game. Didn't warrant a booking.
Vialli was almost acting as counsel for Brehme's defence then. But a booking it is.
He was in an absolute nightmare, Brehme, trying to stop Lombardo all afternoon. The last thing he wants is to be booked in the last minute.
The last thing Pagliuca wants is to be chipped by one of his own teammates. Lana steered the back pass. Not really looking as to where the goalkeeper was. He was aware of where the goal was as he put it wide of that. It's the last rites here of a remarkable game. We expected something special, but I don't think we expected this. And really, it's been one of those days for Gerardo Orico, where everything he's tried to do for his team has gone wrong. He picked a defensive lineup, and they let in a goal. Look at Brehme. Well, and Paolo Mantovani, the president of Sampdoria, who's done so much to raise the standards here, well, he's having a ball. To beat Inter would have been good enough for him, but to do it like this, they'll talk about it for a long time.
The last 20 minutes, Inter have been so poor, Paolo Mantovani could have played himself.